just click on got it.
I did that.
Got it. Click on it again.
Okay, show it again. Okay, it's only you who can bring it.
We cannot control it from our side. You are the one who can control it. Just click on got it. Just click on got it.
I did. I just did that.
Got it. Click on it again.
Okay, show it again. Okay, it's only you.
Okay, Sarah, what you do, just stop sharing that screen.
Yeah.
Stop sharing.
Okay. Yep. I have stopped.
Okay, now click on got it again. Okay, now share your screen. Just share your screen now.
Are you okay there?
Yes, that's okay. Thanks.
All right, so we want to start from their side. And we have Sarah on standby, but officially we have to follow the protocols. Our protocols is we open with the national anthem, respect for our country, Kenya, and then we also respect the African Union national anthem. Of course, I'm sure we know each other, so we'll go straight to the opening remarks by Daktari. And then after that, now we can bring in Madam Sarah to do her presentation. So the DJ, please, let's all arise for the national anthem. Karibuni. Well, now should be an exciting session, being the last day of the Expo, whereby we shall be also now getting to get in touch with the financial angle about our indigenous foods and food systems. And we shall be also engaging SMEs who shall be giving us another look at how our foods can become now sustainable in terms of finance. Daktari, please, karibu sana, and let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Manjoro. Joro tells me that he's the most handsome man in his village.
Yeah.
So we can tell that the others are also handsome. Good morning, everyone. And my great pleasure to welcome you all to this session today. It marks the end of our symposium. We are having the expo where the exhibition is taking place across the road, and also here where we have the SMEs. And we are marking today as the beginning of a road journey that will be demonstrating to Africa what we can do through our foods. And we are not saying that the way the technology used to be then is what we are going to be embracing throughout. We will have to embrace the science. We will have to embrace the technology. We will have to embrace the new practices that make our indigenous foods better and adapted across the road. So mine is to remind us, we are sitting at the nexus of the convergence of what can make us progress better, but we should not leave what is ours and embrace what is foreign. It is that embracing of the foreign that made us be the servants of what has made our Africa poor. Our soils do not have to be degraded because we are pumping unnecessary inorganic fertilizers in them. We do not have to kill ourselves taking medicines that are not right, because we are advised that that is the best way that we need to do. So mine is to welcome you to start this journey that has already started now, to embrace all the partners that you get, to join hands with countries like Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and others that are joining us in online and physically in our meetings, so that we can now start exploring the possibilities of what we would like to do to take the granary back to our households. I am delighted to be part of this discussion as we started and up to now. And it is my duty, therefore, to tell you that when we are finished with the presentations, because today, as you have been told by Manjoro, we'll be looking at the financial side of how do we fund our sustainable agriculture. Where do we integrate the role of the youth in this? And therefore, it is my duty and pleasure to actually welcome you to listen to one of us who is already in the diaspora and keen to tell us what she is doing on the other end in Africa. And then we will now get to the other presentations. Asanteni sana.
Okay, so with those remarks, that is the opening session. It is time, and good, I can see my brothers from Turkana. Mnasalimiana aje na Kiturkana? Ajoka? We are learning. We are learning. We have been advised by Dr. Injoki. We should embrace our language, our names, and make sure we use our names, our indigenous names. So without further ado, we are going to karibisha Madam Sarah. How is Ghana? Madam Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Tuko
you. Can you
naye.
hear me?
Ananisikia? This is-
Nakusikia. Yes,
Yes,
Ghana
now I can
is
hear you.
nice.
Yes, my name's Anjoroge. And it is hot. You
I
said
am.
it is sunny
Yeah.
there.
It is very sunny, yes.
Yeah?
Very sunny.
Oh, so as we are having rains, our short rains. Yeah. So the floor is yours now. You can take over. Our ears are all yours.
Thank you. My name is Kavoi Kahori, and I am here in Ghana doing a PhD in sustainable land management. And the reason why we are doing sustainable land management is because if we continue to using our land in a manner that it's not sustainable, we are eventually going to degrade our land so much that it cannot support us. I am keen on climate change, and I want to bring in the indigenous knowledge into climate change mitigation. So that is why I'm with you today. Now, what we are saying is that there is need to end centuries of discrimination and marginalization of indigenous traditional knowledge. And I have listened to so many people talking the last 2 days, and I think it has become very clear that indigenous knowledge, our grandfathers, they knew a lot of science which had been put there by the person who created it, God, and we've not been using that knowledge. Now, why are we concerned about indigenous knowledge? One, this is the cumulative body of knowledge. They have been practiced, they have been manifested, and they have been developed with the peoples with the histories of interaction with their natural environment. So we are not talking about a people who did not touch the environment. And that is why our grandfathers, they were not putting on shoes, they were connecting with nature. Now, why am I worried about practicing, or why we are not practicing indigenous knowledge? Because we are looking at farming sustainably using our landscapes. Now, we have been introduced to industrialized farming, and science shows that industrialized farming, it leaches the soil, and there is endangered biodiversity, and we are talking about a hotter climate. Why are we talking about industrialized farming contributing to climate change? If you look at the way we do this large-scale farming, we put in our tractors in there, and the tractors turn the soil up and down. Here, that's plowing with the tractors. Now, what we should know is soil is one of our biggest sink of carbon. And carbon is one of the gases that cause climate warming, global warming. So we want to look at a system that does not disrupt the carbon soil, which is stored in the soil. Now, when we look at what industrial agriculture has been doing, and the donors who are there, they only manage what we are calling monocultures. We are using synthetic and artificial fertilizers. We are using pesticides, as opposed to our indigenous systems where we did not use pesticides. Now, the sad thing is that these powerful guys, we call them powerful because they can influence a lot of things, Only 13% of the systems that the programs have been funding, only 13% of them globally are sustainable. And I think that is a concern for us. Now, indigenous food systems, we are talking about change in attitudes and mindsets. When we talk about attitudes and mindsets, is how we do our farming, why we do our farming. I want to take people back, those of you who are more than 50 years old, and those of you who can remember visiting their grandmothers. Every homestead had a fruit tree. These days, you go to any homestead, rarely will you get a fruit tree there. Now, it means trees are the carbon, they sequester carbon. And when we sequester carbon, it means we are meeting those SDGs. We want to lower the climate, we want to lower the temperatures. That means all those trees we have cut from our grandmothers' homesteads, all those trees, they used to sequester carbon. That means we have lost a lot of carbon sequestering trees. We are also looking at locality-specific seeds. These days, when we go to, when we even hear our system asking for seeds, we even hear people taking rice seeds where rice doesn't grow. Why? Because we are not concerned about what we are doing on the ground. All we need to do, all people are doing is talking a lot of, and I want to call it here, hot air. It's not practical. You're taking rice seeds where rice cannot grow. You're taking seeds where they were not supposed to grow. And inherently, we are looking at biodiversity conservation in indigenous systems. When we use these weed killers, we are killing a lot of what we are calling weed. Some of those weeds, they supported a lot of biodiversity in our soils. And so indigenous, that is why we need to go back to indigenous systems, because once you disrupt the biodiversity, you are killing some animals, you are killing some plants, you are killing animals we cannot even see with our own eyes. And those are what contribute towards keeping the earth cooler. In indigenous systems, we are looking at eco-sensitive inputs. And yesterday, our lady talked about putting organic manure that has been cured, that has been fermented. And those are what we are calling ecosystem input. You just don't put anything into your soil. It is not sustainable, because science shows us if we continue putting those inputs which are not eco-sensitive, we are going to end up with a system that can actually not support us. In indigenous food systems, we are talking about loss of harvest avoidance. 50 years ago, because I was still a young girl that time, we never had any harvest loss. We almost got everything from the farm. These days, you look at the news and we hear people in the Rift Valley saying their maize is rotting. Their maize, they cannot have anybody to buy from them. Why? Because we are producing more than we can be able to maybe put in our stores. Or, I don't want to go to the political dimension, but in Kenya currently, we are having a lot of harvest loss. Kitambo, I remember my grandmother, she used to be able to keep her maize, keep her potatoes, keep her yams and cassava, and they never used to get lost. We're also talking about responsible, healthy consumption in indigenous food systems. These days, we have a lot of garbage in Dandora, that is lost food. Why are we having lost food? We don't consider how we are eating. We're also talking about bio-friendly waste management. You do not let your cow dung, your goat dung, your pig slurry, you manage it well and you recycle. In indigenous food systems, we are talking about food reliance. I remember when I was young, there was a woman in our village who could not keep maize for until the next season. But in our homestead, we had maize, we had beans, we had potatoes that would last us until the next harvest. In African food systems, we are talking about reduction of human-wildlife conflicts. The reason why we keep on having human-wildlife conflicts is because we have encroached what animals used to feed on. We have finished the fruits that animals used to feed on, the monkeys, and that is why the monkeys come into our farms, because we have finished what they used to eat. Now, food African systems, we are looking at improving our resource efficiency. We are using a local, renewable, and close biomass nutrient recycles. When we look at biomass, when we have those trees, those indigenous trees that grow slowly, they are accumulating biomass. And when they accumulate biomass, trees grow by the use of carbon dioxide. They keep the carbon, they release the oxygen. The more trees we are growing, the more we are taking off climate change mitigation. And our indigenous systems, they were capable of that. That is why we didn't have climate change 50, 100 years ago. In indigenous, we are reducing and eliminating dependence on purchased inputs. Basically, every indigenous home can be able to fertilize their farms without going to the market. We are looking at strengthening resilience. In climate change mitigation, if we do not have a resilient community, we are not going to be able to combat climate change. We are looking at soil health. We must secure and enhance our soil health for functioning. If we do not put in what we are calling biofriendly fertilizers in our soil, if we keep on putting chemicals that are going to maybe what we are calling killing, my professor says, don't kill your soil. So we need to manage our organic matter and enhance biological activity in the soil. I was shocked with recently, we checked some soil and according to our professor, it was dead. And there were no living organisms in that soil. That is what we need to do in going back to our indigenous food systems. Animal health, what kind of animals are we talking about? You know, in Kenya, we've heard of animals being injected and injected with chemicals that we do not know so that they can grow faster. How is it affecting us? How is it affecting the environment? We're also looking at synergy, and we are looking at the way human beings, animals, trees, the soil and water, how they used to interact with each other. I remember in the Kalenjin system, there is a way, indigenous system, there's a certain plant they look at, and when they see that plant, its leaves withering, they know in about 8 or 10 days it is going to rain, and they start preparing their farms for planting. That is what we are looking at. We will need to harvest those indigenous knowledge, because these days we plant without even knowing why or how we are planting. We are looking at economic diversification. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you went to any farm, there was a little bit of gouache, those are potatoes. They had a little bit of mianga, that is cassava, doma, the arrowroots. We didn't just plant one thing that we are planting today, and that is what we are calling economic. If one plant fails, you can be able to depend on the other. We are looking at social equity. We want to co-creation of knowledge. We want to harvest that knowledge from our communities, the Maasais, the Kalenjins, the Luos, the Luyas, the Turkanas. Every community in Kenya has got knowledge that needs to be used scientifically. We are going to use this knowledge scientifically. And we are looking at social values and diet. We want to discourage our young generation from eating foods. And there's a lot of research on this, that the current social diseases that we are having is because we have left our African foods that were healthy, that were diversified. You go to some people, all they have stocked is rice and potatoes. There's no green in that family. We need to go back to our food African systems. We want to talk about fairness. We want to support dignified livelihoods. We want to, in the small scale producers, we want our systems whereby we can buy honey from that woman or man in the village who produces 5 kilos of honey. We want to have fair employment. We do not want just to buy from the big guys. We also want to be able to buy from the small farmers. If we are going to tackle climate change, we must have a connectivity. The Luos must connect with the Luyas. What we get from the Luos, we must connect it from what the Kikuyus are eating. That connectivity, that distribution. And yesterday, somebody talked about transporting food for over 500 kilometers in an non-friendly matter. We need to be able to re-embed our food systems into our local community. We are looking at land and natural resource governance. If we are not having governance in our systems, that woman in the village, what she does, it must be recognized and strengthened. If we do not respect what the woman, the man in the village is doing, we are not having local governance. Governance must start at the homestead. And that's why we are talking about the reintroducing or bringing back the granary. That woman in the village, her knowledge must be acknowledged and it must be strengthened. We're looking at participation. There's not going to be climate change mitigation and adaptation in Kenya if we do not have participation from the village. What is the woman, that old woman in the village, that old man in the village, what are they doing? We don't want to make laws that come from above, and when we bring that law into the village, even the woman, the farmer in the village cannot understand. If they cannot understand it, it means they were not consulted. Participation is a must in land governance if we are going to look at climate change. Now, we're looking at management. We want to enhance forest and diversity. We want to strengthen adaptive and coping capacity. Now, long time ago, we are looking at forest health. And the reason I'm looking at forest health here, the indigenous forest systems, we did not have to destroy the forest to feed. We did not have to plant these plantations for us to have wood. So we need to have adaptive land use planning management through indigenous food systems. Am I coming across somebody from there? Hello? We need to go and be able to talk to our people before we can come up with the mitigation systems. I hope you can see this. If we are talking about carbon sequestration for climate change mitigation, we must look at our forest. We must look at conservation, and that conservation can only be addressed through African food indigenous systems. We must also look at strengthening our adaptive capacity with dependent communities. Those communities who live near forest, they know how to take care of the forest. They didn't have to go to the forest. All right. So what we are saying is, if we are going to look at climate change in Kenya, we must be prepared to talk to the indigenous people, how they planted, how did they understand the seasons, how did they understand what to plant when, what trees were there to hold the soils. Because in some communities, we know that if you cut a certain tree, you are a cursed person. That's the indigenous knowledge we're talking about. Why is cutting this tree? Why were certain trees necessary? These days, people just cut any tree anyhowly. But the indigenous knowledge, they knew if you cut this type of tree in the next 2 years, we're not going to have rain. That's what we are talking about. And with those few words, I have come to the end of my presentation.
Oh, Jenny
Manjaro.
Makofi.
Sorry?
Yes. Yes, it was very nice and very interesting, especially the last part where you are mentioning that there are trees that if you cut, you get curses. I still believe some of our communities still have those. We shall be having a reaction from the audience. Probably someone might have some questions, some comment, or what I normally call Congole. So please, I would, I think, let us get 2 to 3 questions that might be posed to you, and then from there you can answer them back, because we cannot communicate like we are in the same area. We have to give them ourselves breaks.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you. Oh, Kafoi.
Yes, Kafoi.
Thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. Now, when we are talking about the Al-Kabila non-African indigenous food system, what plan do you have? Do you think we can adapt for the whole of Africa? Because you have focused so much on Kenya, but we are talking about the continent as a whole, breaking the boundaries. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Daktari. I was only talking about Kenya, mentioning Kenya, but right now I'm in an international and I'm in an African setting, and everybody is talking about how we are going to go back to our system. In Uganda, it is doable. The Ugandans are doing it. In Tanzania, in the Miombo woodlands, they are conserving it because they have realized the Miombo woodlands are very important to climate mitigation in Tanzania. Right here in Ghana, we are talking about the moving of the forests. The gold mining here is, they are calling it chaotic. It's depleting the forest. So everybody is saying we need to plant, we need to go back to our African systems so that we do not degrade. And let me tell you, people, degrading we need to be careful. Right here in Ghana, you cannot take water, you cannot even brush your teeth with water from the tap, because the water is so contaminated because of land degradation through gold mining. So we are concerned, and they are saying we need to go back to our food systems, because all this gold mining is happening because people want to grow rich quickly without taking into consideration the land degradation. The African food system is an awakening. I have young people here who are saying they don't want to eat rice, they want to eat their African food. So yes, it's doable, Daktari.
Thank you so much.
Okay, any person with a reaction, comment?
Thank you, Dr. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kaboi. My question is, I see that you mentioned something to do with sustainable land management. Is this knowledge available in this country, and where can we get it? Or do we have maybe to move out of this country? Because at the end of the day, we depend on the soil, and we need, it's like we have a gap in that. How can we get capacity built in that here at Kenya?
Thank you. Sustainable land management is something, it should be within our Ministry of Agriculture. But what I think we are lacking is, long time ago, we used to have agricultural officers who used to ride bikes and they used to be in the village. These days, I see that lacking. The knowledge is there, but we need a connectivity. I don't know how we are going to do about it, and I think this is why the African conference is happening. Knowledge is there. What we need is, can this knowledge be taken to the farmer? Can we have what we are calling synergies between the people who hold the knowledge and the people who need to use the knowledge? We don't need to go outside of Africa. The knowledge is here. We have people who have got high levels of understanding of what is a healthy soil. So to that person who asked a question, the knowledge is here. What we need is, can we do a participatory educating approach so that our farmers are educated, the knowledge is availed. And I think we need to get rid of this. Every time I need to teach people, I need to be paid. We need to understand that this is for our own good. We are saving ourselves. This business of, if you go for a conference to teach people that you have to be paid, that is what is killing Africa. Money for telling or giving out knowledge.
Hapo daktari, Kavoi, hapo you've touched a very good point about in our days when we were growing, when we were small boys and girls, we used to have agricultural extension officers. They used to come all around. The veterinaries would come taking care of our animals. The agricultural extension officers would come advise farmers about the pH of the soil, the crops, how they are doing, what needs to be done. Now it is not there. We can blame it on the government because once again, it was a government initiative. No, it is not there. It is upon us to do that for our neighbors and our friends and our family, so that that knowledge does not go. So I think Nani has been answered. Yes, my brother. Another question for you, Kavoi.
Hello, Daktari. For participatory knowledge, I really congratulate you in that. And it's something that we can all emulate as Africans, especially when you get to several African setup. We even use our goat, we slaughter goat and we study the intestines to know if we can get rain when and at what time do we really get to prepare for it. Yeah, so it's one thing that we really need to impress. It is being taken serious at some point, but in some parts in Africa, it's not really well recorded and taken care of. Yeah, mine was just a comment. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
We really appreciate
Kavoi, no waigua.
that you slaughter a goat, you look at the intestines, but
Yeah.
I'm always asking myself, after you look at the intestines, do you eat the meat?
Yes, okay. At some different, African setups, but on where I come from, we do eat that meat after we have started, because we will get to know at every point of where we are, when are we going to receive rain and where are we not going to get rain, or even where will be conflict, especially like maybe for livestock, or where will we have conflict maybe in a community or whatever, or land for grazing, all those things. Yes, but we do eat that meat after we have learned.
Okay, thank you. What I want to encourage my fellow Africans is that we have so much potential. Africa is literally keeping the whole world on its feet. And it is a high time that we realize that what God put in Africa, we need to conserve it. We need to take care of it. We need to be proud of what we have, with the knowledge that we have. Honestly, if it is documented, if it is utilized, we should not be talking about poverty in Africa. We should be the most developed continent in the world. So all of you who are here, please go and preach those gospel that we have what it takes. We do not need to be labeled. That label of Africans, we are poor. Africans, we don't have it. Africans, we have what it takes. All we need is to, as they say, get your feet out of the gunia and let's start moving and let us start doing something for Africa, because all the resources, most of the resources in the world are here. This is the most fertile soil in the world. We need to conserve it and we need to take care of it. It is up to us, it is up to you, and this awakening should not be allowed to go to waste. Those young people, when you see me, I'm not young. Those young people who are in this meeting, please be encouraged that we are behind you, that we want to support you, and we want to hold your hand so that we can harvest, so that we can take Africa to the next level of being able to feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, and be recognized as a force. Thank you.
Wow. And by the way, Madam Kavoi, you should know that that gentleman who was talking about the slaughtering of a goat comes from one of our semi-arid areas, that is Turkana, and they are doing a great thing. They are planting our African bogas, akina terere, akina managu, and they are really doing something good about their county, which we call Atuko kuna njaa. Sasa wanabadilisha hakuna njaa tena pande ya kwao.
Hallelujah.
Any other person? By the way, yesterday we had another a speaker who was saying they have the land, they don't have the water in Turkana. We have the water, we don't have space to plant our crops. So it is like tunarushiana mashida hapa. Kwa hivyo wanatu advise. So that's why we are doing kitchen gardens, farming in a small area where you can maximize and get food, whether you have a big chunk of land or even a small piece of land. Any other person? Okay, our brother again.
Thank you. Mine is about restoring the granary into the African home. You have talked about people with knowledge and people who want to use that knowledge. How can we now come to this young generation in order for them to understand the previous way of restoring the granary into African home? Because nowadays, there's no something like that. Children just know supermarkets and shops, but the granary, they don't know. How comes that?
Thank you. I think Dr. Njoki she is conducting, and we agreed after this conference, we are going to conduct a lot of capacity building. This is the beginning. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And Njoki, and we're going to have a lot of partnerships. She has talked about it. And capacity building is going to be conducted. We are going to capacity build people on self-respect. We don't want people living with every day, you take 100 bob to go and buy a small piece of something to come back and cook. There's going to be education, because granary is also about self-respect. So Daktari is going to organize that. These are big initiative. So education, my friend, is going to be there. Slowly but surely, we are going to get there.
Thank you. Maybe just to add a bit on what Sarah Kafoi has said.
Kafoi.
This expo is actually a launch. Kafoi, sorry. It's actually a launch of a 5-year strategic plan. We are starting a campaign to restore the granary. So we are not just talking here. The granary has to be restored in the African home. So there will be a lot of trainings. In my closing remark, I'll give the way forward. And then now everyone can identify with a place where they can work on. It's a concerted effort. Thank you.
Actually,
Thank you.
me,
May I add something?
on the
Joro.
restoring. Yes, please. Yes, proceed.
I wanted to talk about what we teach our people is what they are going to embrace. And I will give an example of my grandson. My grandson is 5 years old now. And because we practice a lot of farming, that 5-year-old, imagine, he knows that those weed you call weed that you throw away. When he comes visiting me, he doesn't talk about weed. He says, this is food for my rabbits. This is food for my goats. He already has, my friend, a 5-year-old, he has got my goats, my rabbits. And he knows that any weed he sees is his food for me, feed for rabbit. So what am I saying? What we teach our people is what they embrace. The reason that why our children do not know things is because we have not taught them. So you come to my garden, we do not throw away, we do not even, I cannot even cut those weeds. That is for my grandson. So teach, educate. I think education is the thing here. We don't want to be learned people. We want to be educated continent, an educated continent. Thank you, Njoro.
Oh, yeah. Adding on that, yesterday we were told the way to store our data, the way to document our data is not by putting it in computers, in books. It is teaching our children and the generation after, so that that information can always continue helping our continent. So that is what we were told yesterday. Our data should be documented through teaching our children and the generation that is coming after that. Yes, kuna mtu mwingine ako na swali ama comment, ndio tuseme tupigie Kavoi. You know, it's mean like a small a small married. You know, my names are Gishoya, and I came to understand what is Gishoya. You know, I thought it was just the banana leaf. It had a meaning. It had a meaning. So I think, Kavoi, thank you so much for your presentation. Still hang around with us as we proceed to the next speaker if they are around. Tulikuwa tupate mtu wa kutoka K-Unity. K-Unity atuambie mambo mawili matatu. I want to touch on something about that I was telling people about our ways of life, our nativity. Our nativity has been brought back to be, now we are speaking about the nativity or the lifestyle of the people right now we call the chosen ones, the Israelites. Wale wa Israeli wenye tunashinanga tukiongelea, those people, the ones that are in that land are not the real Israelites. Sababu, these people are fighting because of, and they are the people who should be telling us peace, 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 and they don't listen to anyone. They are finishing the Palestinians, you know. That war is sometimes makes someone wonder, what is wrong? What is wrong na hawa Israeli wenye tunaambua ni watoto wa Mungu? Sababu tulikuwa tunacheka jana. I was laughing, I think, with Daktari and my colleague pale, Mzee Digital. Ati siku hizi, you know, when you go to the churches, they are very passionate about going to heaven. I can't wait when I shall go to see my Father in heaven. Hallelujah. How will I be happy when I go to see my Father in heaven? Let a thug enter that church with a gun. and says, how many want to go and see Jesus? The pastor will be the first one to hide under the table. They don't want to go to see Jesus, but they tell us here they want to. You see, and we should also, in the process of trying to learn about our indigenous food, we should also try so much to learn about our history. Why should I, as a child in primary school, start learning about Vasco da Gama, Dr. Livingstone? What about our Kinaronda Mageres? We had our heroes. We had our explorers here. We are not taught about our people. Our classes are filled with lessons that are teaching us about people who came from Europe. Someone came and discovered Lake Victoria. Does it mean the people from Luo Nyanza who are fishing there had never seen the lake? Alikuja akadiscover, the first man to discover Lake Victoria. Seriously, some of these things, as we are teaching and we're educating each other, can we send this message back home? Can we try and influence the little bit we can about our cultures? Tunakataa hiyo system ya masomo ya kutufundisha vitu za nje ikuwe kidogo sana. And inafaa ikuwe when probably you want to visit Portuguese, you want to visit USA. That is when now we should start learning something small about them. But our education should be based upon some of our values, our culture that we have been brought up with, and we are forgetting that culture. That is why tunaambiwa na daktari ati someone is uprooting foods and herbs that are good for our health, because we don't know. We only know that inakuja kutoka wapi? Kule kwa mlami. So I think that is good. Hiyo part imeniguza sana. Now I want us to engage in the because today was about how indigenous food and sustainability of how we are going to do it financially, how we can help each other, how we are going to, source for financial gains with our indigenous food. Of course, some of those things, the first ones is, first of all, to accept that we have to grow them in large quantities. And then once we disseminate the information and the value and the benefits about our foods, then we can easily talk about how we are going to make money with our foods. Kuna wale wanalima hizo vitu. Nyinyi mnapata, sasa mlituambia mambo ya pesa iko. Si ndio? Zile vitu mnalima hizo greens. Si kuna pesa mnapata sasa. Tunataka kujua hizo vitu. Tunataka kujua wale wanalima, value yake iko wapi? Pesa yake is it sustainable or is it bado iko pale chini? Mambo kama haya. So sijui kama guest wetu number 2 wako area. Bado hajafika. So we were waiting for some people from K-Unity. K-Unity is an organization, is a circle that deals with funding farmers, facilitating their works, lending them money. It is based in Kiambu town. I've worked with them before, and their origin was through pyrethrum and coffee and tea. And that's the origin. And then probably I understand pyrethrum is coming back to Africa with a bang. There are some countries that are investing so heavily on pyrethrum. Like in Kenya, they are targeting around 90,000 farmers to start getting the funds to grow pyrethrum and cotton. So that is an issue that is being looked at, and that is the origin of the name of the guys called K-Unity. It was Kiambu Unity, but now it's a K-Unity. They fund and they give financial advices and benefits to the farmers. Nani anajua watu wa KU? K-Unity si KU shule. Yeah? Kama umewahi wasikia, ni watu wako mbele sana na kusaidia wakulima. So after that, we shall be bringing our the exhibitors who are around with us. Eh? Tukaeka hapo. Wako kwa njia. So, by the way, we have been having exhibitors who are around with us. And in the next, after this session, we shall be letting them to come with their products. We see them, they give us a brief talk because some of us have been coming. Tunaingia tu, we come, we sit for the conference. And then so probably when we are leaving, probably time factor, you meet people going home without even taking a look at the exhibitors. We have exotic lead organics. They are dealing with the byproducts of goats, goat milk and ufugaji wa mbuzi. We have DK Engineering, who are also here exhibiting. We shall also be having Burundi delegates to do some exhibition. They must have something to show us about vitu ambazo wametoka nazo Burundi. We have Kasusu Enterprises, Kwetu Health, GPTH, Groots Kenya. Those are ladies who are trying to restore, farming in a small space. That is encouraging. Most of them, the culprits about small farming, small space farming is the Kiambu people. Mashamba lands in Kiambu are growing smaller and smaller every day. The lands are not enough. Some parents even don't want to share the piece of land with their children because the land is so small. So some of our sons and daughters are being told, well, kisha mature, when you grow up, go get yourself. And huko kajitafutia yako. Simlo seeds, I think everyone knows them. There are people who provide us with seeds, and the other people would have brought, but because we don't want to dwell with fertilizer because of probably with the sio ile yetu. Unajua tunataka sisi tucheze na organic fertilizer, organic one is. So our first exotic lead organics, karibu sana. My dear from Muranga, how are you? Wave in the air. Hello. Yeah. Hata wewe unafaa kuwa na presentation yako. Vitu na exhibit ama ukubeba vitu. Karibu. Okay. So this beautiful lady, this is what we call, I do a show called Maisha Kilimo in Radio Maisha on Standard Group Limited. There is a lady who came from Nyahururu, and she was saying, just look at me. When I wake up in the morning, I do makeup, I make my hair, I wear my best dress, and I go to the shamba in it. And tulikuwa anajiita as the slave farmer. Ana maintain beauty yake na ako kwa shamba. This is another good example. When someone tells you ati anafanya ukulima, unaanza kumwambia wewe acha kutuenjoy. Unafanya kazi nyingine, hii yako hii hapana. Look at the way she's beautiful and she's dependent basically on farming. Lakini because the floor is hers, tunampatia nafasi. So utamshikia mic ndio akiongea anaweza demonstrate.
Good morning. First, I will have this sample on this side. Kila mtu afinye kidogo kidogo and feel the product as it goes around, and the other sample go to the other side.
Thank you.
So years ago, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. It's unfortunate our story sat in a very sad way. So when she was diagnosed with cancer and she loved her tea so much, she had to stop taking cow milk. And we were told the best thing probably to take to boost her immunity is goat milk. I had not heard of goat milk before. It was the first time. So unashindwa, maziwa ya mbuzi, tulikuwa tumezoea kuona maziwa ya, tulikuwa tumezoea kuona mbuzi za wanyama. So that is where the goat milk idea started. It's unfortunate it was too late. She passed on after that, but the goat milk idea was left in my head. So from that, after mom rested, I decided to research more on this goat milk because I had not heard about it. Of course, we had the internet. There is the information where we can read more and do research on the goat milk. I realized goat milk is very good for your health benefits. It boosts immunity if you have cancer, if you have diabetes, if you have arthritis. It has high calcium content. If somebody has arthritis, it will back up the issues you have and you actually get better. So out of curiosity, I wondered, if goat milk is very good for our internal health, what about our external topical skin? How does it feel? We'll get there. So how is it for our topical skin? Because first, goat milk, it absorbs well in our intestines because it has very small molecules and it's very well absorbed through our intestines, and hence we get to have all the protein that comes from goat milk and the minerals. So curiosity was, can it also be absorbed through our skin? So the same lining that is made out of our intestines is the same lining made by our skin, but it's more compact on our top skin because it has protect the internal body. So out of that, again, wondered, how can we use now the goat milk on our skin? Of course, after we get the goat milk, we can't pour it on our bodies. Now, let me take you back again because I didn't introduce myself. My name is Anne Shuri. I'm a dairy goat farmer. Mimi ni mkulima. It's my full-time job. And I said, mkulima si lazima parare, na ukulima si ushamba. I'm a farmer. So out of dairy goat farming, I came up, out of innovation and research, I managed to come up with the first goat milk face and body cream for your skin. You can apply it on your hair, you can apply it on your face, on your body. It's good for people who have eczema. It's very good to protect your skin from UV rays that damage your skin. When you've applied products that usually mess your skin, it usually restores your skin back to what it's supposed to be. So in general, most of the products we have in the markets, you find that goat milk, it's sorting out everything in one. So I felt like I'd hit the jackpot, but work had just started. Now, doing research, trying to see how I'll come up with the products, consulting also chemical engineers who have knowledge how to go about it. So we came up with a product. But now the product is not mine, it's for the masses. But also it's the same thing I use every day because we also have soaps and creams. I have to be the first experiment. So I'm my first dummy to myself. And then now the other people are presented to the product. So we had to do prototyping with the product, present it to the masses, people who have eczema, different type of skins, people who have combination skin, tea, there are all those type of skins. So presented them and it worked perfectly. So after that, the listing for Kiriti for the products. We are already in the market. We have a shop at the greenhouse. Interestingly enough, I tell the youth, we all don't have farms. You don't have to have a big farm to do agriculture. I keep my goats in a 50 by 100 foot plot. And there are 23 goats. I had a video somewhere. I don't know whether it can be put. So from that 50 by 100 plot, I've managed to keep my 28 goats. We stock up on feed, and I have employees who have families and children. They usually take their kids to school. So it's a whole ecosystem that is being supported by this, only because of the goat milk and the products we've come up with. So the creams and the soaps. So out of that, the idea is not mine only. The idea is for me and my community and other greater communities. I passionately want to work with women where they can be provided with goods, dairy goods. They can provide for us milk because they can sustain the market. So when they sustain us with when they provide us with the milk, they can manage to generate income. 50%, about 50% of families in Kiambu County, because the 50 by 100 where I am, it's in Kiambu County, don't have sustainable income every day. So if somebody had probably one goat and they're producing, let's check on the lower side, probably a liter in the morning, a liter in the evening, that's 400. So if somebody had 5 goats, that's 2,000. With 2,000 a day, can you sustain yourself and your family in a lower bit? So those other 50, probably about 50% families would have upkeep that is sustainable. So we'd want to work with women, youth, and other families if they can get goods, if probably organizations can donate goods, and then probably have a facility. Because now when we take that route with the 50 by 100, we can't manage to have a big facility to do production. But the market is big, the market is great. If we can take it from our county to other counties, we can be able to also sustain the economy and grow big. So like I said, being youth, I'm proud to be in farming. I would want to encourage other youths to join me in farming because I also do dairy goat farming and training for youth, women, and anybody else who would want to be. So out of all that, I've come up with a brand that's from the goat milk. We've manufactured the skincare products and I've shown you what we do. So I've been out there in the stand. You can visit it again. You've also tested our products and we're happy to be here. And thank also Dr. Njoki for enabling us to present to you. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah.
In case anybody has a question or a comment, and thank you for listening to me.
Questions. My question ni umeolewa?
Na mimi naweza uliza, that's only beauty products, hakuna za kukula kukunywa?
The expansion plan is large. We decided to start with what is not common in the market. It's not an easy process because we are teaching people, because most people I've spoken to, they didn't know there were skincare products made out of goat milk. True. Oh. So we decided to start with what is not common, and mostly we needed products to heal skin. People have many skin issues, but in the expansion plan, we're also going to deal with consumables, fresh milk, and most other products that come out of goat milk.
Okay. Wow. This is what we call value addition. Value addition. So that apart from just, like she has said, apart from just making sure that, you know, if you sell it the milk as just a cup of milk to drink, probably the value is down. So when you value add, then quality, yeah. I mean, and the price also, the product makes more money, yeah. And probably the usage of the quantity of the milk might be low. True or false? True. Very true. Anyone with a question for her? She's doing mambo maziwa ya mbuzi.
Mbuzi aina gani?
I have alpines, but with the dairy goats, we have different types: alpine, Saanens, Toggenburgs, Anglo-Nubian. It depends with the climatical condition, the type of milk you want, if it has less butter or more butter, depending with what value addition you're doing.
Probably why he's asking the question is because in their region, they have a lot of goats. And probably mbuzi zao zina maziwa ile ama unajua ile yao ni ile ya kawaida mbuzi zetu. Na labda hizi za maziwa zingine you hear they come from New Zealand, some others come from Australia. So there is a certain breed ambayo ni ya maziwa ama ni mbuzi yoyote kama ile ya Wamasai?
Si mbuzi wote, iko mbuzi wa nyama na iko mbuzi wa maziwa.
Okay. So in this case, these are specific one for dairy only. Okay.
Yeah.
Ulikuwa na video ilikuwa ichezwe? Uliipata? Kama imekataa kucheza, format yake iko different. Ndio ina load. Okay. Sawa sawa. So you have not told us the prices for these ones?
We have the 250 ml. This one goes for 1200 prime product. We have 125 ml going for 600. And we have the goat milk collagen soap. It's like this, but we package them like this. You also have to package your products well for the market. Yes.
Okay. The soap.
The soap is 500.
The soap is 500 Kenya shillings. So the price is there. You've had for yourself the benefits that come with the products that she's making. And anything else?
Yes, somebody is asking on a normal day where you can get me. We managed to get a shop at the Greenhouse Adams at first floor, Suite 11. That is all about farming. So we had to be out there in the market to get customers and to enlighten them. We are in the social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Exotic Lead Organics. We have a website, www.exotic.co.ke. We also have a WhatsApp number where you can call or you just make your order by sending text. So we've made it much more facilitative as possible in the small way possible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you sana. Tumpigieni makofi. Na unaona bado she's trying to exhibit her product and trying as much as possible to look like a goat. Najua sisi cash crop yetu, our cash crop is madness, so we must look like professors. Sawa. Please make sure you visit their stand out there and promote. Let's promote each other. Let's become each other's marketing tools. If you know someone who has this kind of business she does, anambuzi, anafanya vitu ambazo zinakaribia zake, please network. Today, this expo, another most important thing about it is networking. Networking, change contacts, make sure you live here when you have grown your business, you have grown your product to another level. Asante sana mrembo. I will be visiting you. Yeah. Tuko na DK. Video yake iko tayari. Okay, come back. Your video is ready. Please, I hope it's not. Is it that long? Please play it.
Huko ni kwako? Yes, can see. Yeah.
So
that is the kind of the goat now.
Yeah, my goats are alpines, alpine dairy goats. So like I mentioned, there's I'm in a small portion and I've managed to keep 23 goats. It's the same portion where the people I'm working with live. So like I was talking to the youth and telling them, with the smallest thing you have, you can start. So there was also another video. That one is called Njeri. Njeri had given birth. So after she licked the young one, they very fast jump into suckling their mother. So for management, we also tag our goats and write records on everything. Whatever we have to do, the milking, just in case they receive any medication, deworming. We have all records with us for orders. It's sort of like record keeping and having order, doing it right.
Okay.
So after the milk, there is another image. So this just simply explains the process from the goats. We get the milk from the goats. Our process is not that complicated because we are using some uncertified space to do production. We look forward to have our own facility. And then finally, we come up with the products, the goat milk collagen soap, which helps with clearing acne, anti-aging, somebody who has eczema, softening skin, deep cleansing your skin and hair, and also the goat milk face and body cream.
Aya, asante sana. And Joro said, and let there be light.
Wish you all the best.
Aya, asante sana. Sasa tuko kwa uko na swali. Unaweza pelekea tu mic hata akiwa huko.
Now, good morning.
Morning.
Now, my question is, how do you feed, where do you get your feeds for, because you're saying that you operate on a need of an acre
That's
for the goats.
Yeah.
Or how do you feed them? On hay or what?
That's a good question. So in the 50 by 100, I've partitioned the plot. If it were not for value addition, would not have managed to sustain ourselves. So I get feed in bulk from either Marula Farm, Dalamere, actually have Boma Roads, Lucans, and we also get concentrate. So we're able to stock feed that can be consumed for almost 6 months. So we buy our feed, but it was also a kind request if probably we can get a place to grow feed and that can bring our costs down.
Kwa hivyo chakula ni cha kununua. Ukiwa na kashamba kadogo, huwezi kaa pale na ukuze chakula. Mpaka lazima utanunua chakula. Very hard, especially for dairy. All right, sawa sawa. I think that's all for her.
I have just an observation, because yesterday somebody made a comment about how young people can be encouraged into farming. And I don't think they need encouragement. They're already there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's young. She's a very young girl.
Yeah.
They only need to emulate. So there's a big opportunity for the young people. So I'm excited, Anne.
Thank you.
Very excited.
Thank
and we'll see how we can support.
Thank you.
Support you grow, help in creating a good network for you, maybe venture into an all-African or even the global market.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, with the made in Kenya label or made in Al-Kabilan label. Why should we have everything made in China? There's a time I thought God lives in China.
China
is made in
China mpaka toothpick.
Yes.
We are importing toothpick from China, Daktari.
Yeah. Maybe we need also to get another young person to think about the skin, the leather. Is it called the skin or what is it called?
Hide
and skins.
Leather, ngozi ya mnyama.
Yeah, because we are importing hard bags. Why are we importing hard bags and shoes from wherever? And we are exporting our raw hides and then importing hard bags. So there's a big economic opportunity in that value chain. Congratulations.
Asante sana. By the way, labda kuna swali tu kuuliza, lakini I would want to ask you. From the time you start rearing that goat to time yake ya kufika menopause ya kutoa maziwa ni baada ya miaka ama ni miezi ama ni how long?
15 to 18 years.
15 to 20 years. Basi na
18 years.
20 to 18 years. So you're with as long as you're feeding it nicely, you're taking care of it health-wise, utatoa maziwa kwa muda mrefu.
Actually, a dairy goat increases milk the more it gives birth. I was explaining to some people, we call that first lactation, second lactation. As it continues giving birth, it gives you more milk. So there's also a goat that can give you 4.5 liters. A goat. Yes.
Wow. Asante sana. Mpigeni makofi tena. For the youth.
Just 1 minute. What is your background?
I did I did business information communication technology.
Look at that.
Huh?
And she's in agriculture.
And she's in agriculture. Agriculture is well paying. Very much. Mi nakwambia nafanyanga Radio Maisha. I found an engineer who was doing cyber security in the USA. The guy came back, he's farming in Isinya, akona mabrokoli huko, akona capsicums, and he says, ile life anaishi venye anataka, he's driving a good car, he's living nicely. Alitoka kwa computer zenye alisomea Nairobi University. He is now doing farming. So that is very encouraging for the youths. And I think we need to push this agenda so much about the youth. Because of time, please make sure you visit our stand. It's out there. I want you to network even with guys from Burundi. Let them invite you there, and you slay in Burundi. Tell them most Kenyan we export beauty, not the product. Yeah. Okay. The next presentation, tunawapatia try to be as brief as possible so that we can also get to share and get the questions from the people. GPTH. Andukamu tuambie GPTH inamaanisha nini? Karibu.
Ina mama hoye.
Hey, mama hoye.
Freedom is now coming.
Yeah. Na unajua nini? Tumekuwa sana tuki-emphasize on girl child, empowering the girl child, and I'm looking at it like the boy child is getting lost somewhere. Yeah. Hey.
Okay, hi. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jane Mwadhi from Muguga, and I'm a mother of 2. I'm a husband of 1. I'm shosho to 4 children.
Oh.
Yes. Na nitachanganya Kiswahili na Kiingereza kwa sababu nimezoea kuongea na farmers huko nje. Wengine hata waelewi Kiingereza ni nini, wengine hawaelewi Kiswahili, na tunataka kusaidiana wamama watoke kwa nyumba. Wakuje wafanye kazi. Hatutaki kugoja men. Marriages are breaking because of waiting for men, and they are not coming with anything.
Kuna jaribu kutranslate ndio wageni wengine wetu wametoka Burundi wasikwe left kwa giza. She says she's going to use a lot of Kiswahili mixing with English, so at some point the high keynotes I will try and translate for you.
Okay, mi nimefanya nutrition in Kenya.
She has done nutrition in Kenya.
So I'm one of the nutritionists here in Kenya. And Carol added me a course of training about having medicinals from indigenous trees and some from our gardens. And once you learn about indigenous trees and food supplements from our garden, we can get everything medicinal from our gardens and forests. So I don't only deal with Carol, but some of my supplements I must partner with Carefree, because something like Prunus africana, this is a bark. We use the bark. You can't get the bark once you are not attached with Carefree and KFS, because to get Prunus africana, you must get the bark from an old tree, which we only get in Rhodian here, 100 years and above tree. And when we use the bark, and we dry very well with a special dryer, with no sunlight, we get something very much good for preventing prostate. Once you use it without honey, with plain hot water, you are sure of free from prostate forever. You just put in hot water. Okay, early days, our gukas and shoshos walikuwa wanachemusha hiyo maganda. They were boiling the barks and taking that juice. But now through innovation and technology, tunafanya value addition very well. Alafu tupate kitu yenye ni ready, hata unaweka kwa your bag, unatoka nayo, ukiwa hata safari kama hapa unatumia. Ukitumia hii moja, inatakikana urudiage after 1 year. And that is without honey. Once you add honey, inakuwa dawa mzuri ya joints. Yes, sinivo. And mnajua vizuri prunus tree is an indigenous tree. Tunaenda kwa baobab. We have the baobab powder. Na samani tulikuwa tumejua we knew how to sweeten tulikuwa tuna sweeten. Unapata baobab yenye tunakula kama sweets. Lakini saa hii tukifanya value addition, tunajua tunaweza pata supplement musuli. Na wakati umeitumia baobab peke yake, ni mzuri sana na calcium. Uambiwe una calcium in your body, go to baobab, utapata a lot of calcium mpaka after 1 week, utaenda kwa doctor na akwambia uko na enough calcium. Once we add the ginseng, wacha niongee mambo ya China. Ginseng ni supplement ya China, ni kama tu spice. Once we add to the baobab, we take in hot water before you take anything. Hiyo inakuwa cleanser ya miili yetu. Tunaita strong detox. Kwa sababu wakati ina detox your stomach, bado itawacha any fat in your body, na itatoa mpaka kwa organs, na pia itatoa a lot of cholesterol. Hii ukitumiaga vizuri. And it is good to say, wacha kuamuka, unaanza na kikombe ya chai. Amuka uanze na kikombe ya maji. Bwana asifiwe, tunaelewana? Ukitaka health yako ikue the best, usiamuke na kikombe ya chai, amuka na kikombe ya maji. Saa hii hatutaki kukunywa hiyo maji ikiwa plain. Either amuka weka chia, amuka uweke the hibiscus. Hii ndio hibiscus. Unaona hibiscus? Na kitu ya kwanza, wakati unataka ku-cleanse na baobab ya ginseng, unaitumia kwa hiyo warm water kabla hujakula kitu. Inataka empty stomach. Utaikunywa hii for 1 week 3 days, lakini itatoa fats na animal protein remain, na ita cleanse your organs na cholesterol for 2 months kama bado inatoa hiyo chafu. Tumeelewana? Tumalize na baobab. We have the hibiscus. Hibiscus nayo inaosha damu yetu, na pia inafanya ukue na a lot of white blood cells wenye ni askari wa mwili. Once you have a lot of white blood cells, hata wakati unasikia mwili ni mgonjwa, ukikunywa tu maji moto because those are the soldiers of the body. They are fighting disease even before you take the medicine. Kwa hivyo hii ni mzuri kutumia after every 6 months. Na vile unaona nimepaka kama dose. Uki-cleanse inatakana ufanyage hivyo after 6 months. Na unaiweka hivi kwa maji. Unachukua tumatawi kidogo, unaweka kwa maji yako warm. Unatumia anytime. Ile maji unabeba kwa gari, ati una shida unikikunywa, wacha kukunywa plain hot water. Tumia kuweka vitu kama hibiscus. Unaona nimempakia na dosages. Tunamuhusia na bei rahisi sana. Hii ni 400. Na utarudia after 6 months.
You don't need to be waking up in the morning. You take a cup of tea. You should wake up in the morning, take water, but make sure it has either baobab, hibiscus, and in 6 months' time, you have cleansed your body out of many toxics, and sometimes you are also given your body a lot of immunity against in health or diseases.
Tuko na pia chia seed. Sigebeba kila kitu hapa, lakini kila kitu iko pale chini, mtakuja tutasoma. We have the chia seeds. Pia tunaweka kwa maji. Mnajaribu kuangalia muone, unakaa for 5 minutes, either warm water or cold water, ni vile umependa. Lakini hii iko na a lot of fiber. pia inasaidia digestion kukua poa hii. Kama unataka kukaa bila kupata vitu kama diabetic, just use all these things, unakuwa tu sawa. Kwa hivyo wakati hujaweka hibiscus, pia unaweza weka the chia, lakini ni vizuri wakati unatumia chia, don't mix. Leo ukitumia chia, kesho tumia the hibiscus, si ndivyo? Na tuko nazo huko chini. Mnaweza google something moshona. Kwa Kikuyu tunaita moshona, but ukienda kugugu tunaita mukona. MUCUNA. Ukigugu utaona hii ni kitu men wanatumia. Saa hii tuko na a lot of cases watu wanatumia hii kitu tunaita Viagra, si ndivyo? And they are dying so much kwa sababu wana use vitu yenye ni strong na vitu yenye sio natural. We have the mukona. Ukienda kugugu kwa simu itakuonyesha vile inafanya. Inakufanya atoto man. Hii inatumika na men. Inafungua hiyo misipa yao yote na anakuwa sawa sawa. Utapata ukienda kuchukua moshona ya capsules pahali kama Healthy You, utapata utanunua capsules sao na 2,000 na 3,000. Lakini this local ni better than that one. Hii unaweka tu kwa maji na unakunywa na una use. Watu wengi hata mwaka mara moja. Ukifugua unakaa tu healthy bila kutafuta vitu za kuadd libido status. Tunaelewana?
She has said this is our African Viagra.
Just 1,000.
Helps men to wake up and stop getting embarrassed when they are serving their duty as men. And she says, when you're using this one, it brings the energy, it in you.
Yes. Alafu sasa hii ni 1,000 na iko mtu mwenye afiki bei ya 1,000. Bado tumeresearch the mukobero hii. Sio ile wanatafuna huko barabara. Hiyo wanatafuna iko na benefit kwa sababu bado ni mzuri sana kwa digestion problems. Lakini hiyo hawaja research. Sasa mwenye afiki 1,000 tuko na 500 mukobero. It does. Ni vile utakunywa mara 2 kwa mwaka na hii ni mara moja. Lakini that mukobero bado ni the best. Tuko nayo hapo chini, sigebeba kila kitu. Yes. And we have the neem. Neem ni muarubaini. Samani wakati sikukuwa nimefanya mambo na Easy Health, nilikuwa na shida kitu moja inaweza ponya magonjwa 40 na zaidi namna gani. Lakini I have a testimony. Wale watu wanaenda hospitali hata wanapimwa ugonjwa inakosekana lakini yaponi. Si ndivyo? Nimetry na hii. Ukiwapea hii wamepona. Hata kama hii kutoka kwa damu akikunywa muarubaini yako sawa. Lakini iko kitu muhimu sana inafanya kati ya zote. Sijui kama iko mtu ameshawahi kuwa na H. pylori virus. Unatake medicine ukirudia lakini ikufi. Hii inaua amoebas na H. pyloris very well. Hata mnaweza kunywa wawili na ninaiuza na 500. Hii hata nyote kwa nyumba mkitumia wadudu wote mnaua kwa tubo. Na hii ni neem. Yes. Sasa mimi nashukuru kwa sababu mmenisikiza. Let us go back to Eden. Mumepewa initials tu ya jina ya programu yangu, lakini ni God's plan towards humans health. Once we go back to Eden, we had food and medicine there. It is only that hatukutii. Ukunywe hata dawa ya Panadol leo, kichwa ikipoa, the remaining of the Panadol is going to kuharibu organs zako, si ndivyo? Once you don't use the baobab with ginseng for 1 full year, uko na danger ya kupata vitu kama heart attacks, kidney failures, kwa sababu we need to cleanse. Iko mtu anatabika na magonjwa hapa, kitu imefanya ni uchafu ya organs. Make sure you cleanse your blood, utoe fats, na utoe animal protein remains, na tuko na vitu ingine kama ya kuosha nerves. Tuko na salt tunaweka kwa maji. Unaigisha mguu yako wakati umerelax kwa nyumba. Alafu ina detox your nerves. Ukifanya hiyo yote, you stay healthy forever. Na karibuni sana wakati mnatumia healthy things. Karibuni. Yes.
Joro, muulize atapatikana aje?
Hapa. Okay, chukueni namba yangu. Hata kama mimi sio digital sana, ni analog. Unajua kukuwa na 63 years ni gift.
Haya, sema na.
Sasa niko namba yangu ni 0711 85 63 90.
Rudia tena ndio labda
0711
85 63 90.
Utanipata kwa WhatsApp. I hold seminars in churches and groups, but with a fee, kwa sababu hii ni kazi. Mkiona hivi watoto wangu wamesoma through hii kazi. Ukikuja kusupport hapo, jua umesupport watoto kusoma. I have 4 kids. Mmoja ni mwalimu wa primary, the first born. Wa pili na ni hii kazi. Wa pili amefanya food and beverage, anapikagia events. Wa tatu amefanya biochem Moi University, amegraduate 2 years. The last born ako KU, anafanya bachelor in dental.
Mpigeni makofi.
Freedom is coming.
You see the power of agriculture. Where I think sababu products zako ni mingi, will not take questions because now everyone will come with a specific one. Please visit her. Inaitwa GP.
God's plan towards humans' health.
Right.
Niko na swali moja tu. Just one question. If you are willing to work with the researchers.
Yes.
Because we need to promote what is ours.
Yes.
Because ginseng is for the Asian DNA.
Yes.
What about what is Alkebulan DNA? Baobab is ours. Because when you're talking about going back to Eden, Alkebulan is the Eden.
Yes.
Are you willing to work with researchers?
Yes.
And we get value for what we have.
Yes.
Because we have more than 1,000 herbs.
I'm very ready.
In Africa.
Yes.
We promote what is ours for our DNA.
Yes.
Because the Chinese have flooded the market and everybody is excited about Chinese supplement.
Yes.
But we always ask, are they good for our DNA? Because we are different. But we have melanin.
Okay.
They don't have melanin.
Yes.
So we just think about that.
We are going on doing that because all my supplement are local. Only the ginseng, and we are making sure we get something to replace it.
Thank you.
We are on the way.
Thank you.
Daktari anataka mfanye research, kwa hivyo unamkaribia sana.
Na hiyo ya wanaume kuna mrogana ke.
Hiyo ya wanaume mimi nakuja mimi ni victim ama victim.
The freedom is coming now.
Afadhali kusema tu kweli. Mimi naenda tu masaa 5. 5 hours and I would want to finish a marathon. I want to become Eliud Kipchoge. By the way, madam, there is something our first speaker spoke about. Nani Kaboi? Kaboi said, even if you said that at some point you have to charge something, she was insisting that please, let's not die with our research, our knowledge. Please teach others. Na saa zingine sio pesa kila saa, lakini muhimu Kenya pesa saa hii. Hatuwezi kosa kuongea mambo ya pesa. Na Zakaya kwa mlango. Amekataa kushuka mti. Asante sana. There's another now group wanaitwa Kwetu Health. Kwetu Health of course wanakaa ni watu ambao wana vitu ambazo ni muhimu kwa health yetu. Kwa hivyo karibu sana. Another young man, the youth. You see, youth in agriculture. Young man. How old are you?
21.
21. Shikilia hapo. Hapo. The floor is yours.
Okay, good morning. My name is Duncan. I'm from Kenya, Nakuru. I'm so delighted to be here. And I also do it with herbs, but mostly in terms of production. So that's the main theme I'll be speaking about. She has spoken much, so I'll not repeat. So that's why I never came with the products, since we deal with the same product, but I engage more in production. I'm the one who produces the products through the research, through Chemly. We have come with different products so that to help, because I was so ill. That's why I have used most of the chemical products, and due to my illness, I had to come and to understand these things, these indigenous products, so that can help me. So through that research, I was able to come with different products, such as the chia seeds, prunas, other products like the flaxseed, the NEMA, and other related products, which are equipped with nutrients differently, and also which are able to help us in our body. Are we together?
Yeah.
So I have in that I've grown these products, and that I've helped in employment. I have young youths, we are working them. There was so much in other technical courses, but due to this agriculture, I've helped it, and now growing. I have an acre, so that one has helped me with with other youths in that production. So what I urge each and everyone, let's keep these youths together. Let's appreciate the work we are doing. Let us get this knowledge and understanding so that we can able to help these youths, because in that slogan ya hakuna kazi itaweza kuisha wakati tutaweza kukubali kushikana, ili tukaweze kuproduce hizi products ambazo ni indigenous, ambazo tulizisahau, ambazo zilikuwa existence na mababu zetu, lakini sisi tumeweza kuzileta na tunaweza kuzipata kwa shamba zetu. Najua kuna mambo ambayo tuko nazo kwa shamba, lakini hatuzitumii. Tunaona ni vitu ambazo hazistahili na ni zile ambazo zinaweza kutusaidia. So ni vyema tukaweze kusaidiana katika hii safari ya youth. So mimi nimeweza kushikana na youth wengi, tuko na shamba ambavyo nimesema inatusaidia sisi. Tumeweza kukuza some of the products na tuko katika safari ya kutafuta marketing na other products na kukua connected na other associates na societies, pia na other companies, so that our products zinaweza kujulikana kwingi. So ndio, that's what we do, that's what we deal in our desk. Utanipata pale kwetu health products, utaweza kupata zaidi ya kile ambacho ninazungumza. Kwa sababu ya muda sitaweza kueleza product zetu zote, ninachukua muda mfupi, so sina chochote cha kusema.
Okay, for English translation, they have healthy products. They are called Kwetu. They have a lot of products that they have for our health benefits. And he says he was a victim of he was sick, so that is why he got encouragement to come and do the research, because he was a first-hand victim in terms of health, and that's why he did the research. And they now they have involved other youths who are now part of the project, and now they are trying to look for partners, associates, people who can also help them even get better. And he's welcoming everybody at their stand, so that now you can learn more about the products they have. He didn't want to bring all of them here. Then he invites us to go and get to learn more once we get a break. Asante sana. Karibu sana Kwetu Health Products. Kasusu. Kasusu. Unajua Kikamba ni Kikamba kususu ni nini? Ni kasusu ya Kikamba? Ama ni majina yenye inaanza ni kampuni ndio ina majina hiyo, Kasusu. Ni jina la biashara. Unajua nilikuwa nangojea tuletewe dawa ya kusaidia. Haya basi, anapanga vitu zake pale vizuri. After hapo nataka ni Rocky Organic Fertilizer, mjipange. Pia wewe you have a presentation to make about organic fertilizers. So the floor is for Madam who comes from Kasusu Enterprise to give her presentation on the products that they are exhibiting.
Asante, nitatumia Kiswahili.
Bas translate. Unajua kile kwenda huko. I'll try and translate where possible.
Habari asubuhi.
How are you this morning?
Kwa majina, ninaitwa Gaudensia Ongwen. I'm from western part of Kenya. Nimetoka Kakamega, Matungu sub-county, Kakamega County, ward is Koyonzo ward. Na ninashukuru sana kwa awamu hii. Na hapa niko na Kasusu Enterprise. Na with Kasusu Enterprise, tunafanya mambo mengi sana katika ukulima. Haswa sana ukulima wetu ni ukulima wa kienyeji, organic farming. Tunalima soya beans na pia tunalima vyakula vingine kama viazi tamu. Tunalima honey, or we keep honey, beekeeping. Na apart from that, tuko hapa na value addition. Kwa hivyo nitaongea sana kuhusu honey and soya. That is the products that I'm carrying right now. Ninazo hapa, kwanza I'm a farmer. Kule nyumbani mimi ni mkulima. Na katika ukulima wangu tunasaidiwa na shirika la Anglican Development Services Western Region, na ama in short ADS Western Region. Na hili shirika linatusaidia kulima pamoja na wakulima. Pale I train other farmers or I empower other farmers kuhusu ukulima wa soya. Especially kitengo cha soya, tunalima vitu mingi vile nimetaja. But upande wa soya, I train them how to be successful soybean farmers or production. So tunaanzia katika ukulima wetu pale, tuna vikundi vya wakulima ambavyo tumekaa pamoja katika entire Western Region, Busia, Kakamega, Bungoma, na tuko na wakulima tofauti tofauti katika vikundi. Tunafanya ukulima wetu wa soya. We produce, apart from grain soya, tuna partner pamoja na Calro who produce seed multiplication. We have farmers who are doing seed multiplication. For example, this season, the short season, we have over 29 farmers who are doing seed multiplication over 70 acres of land with Calro. So tuna produce seeds za soya, tunatengeneza grains, soya grains. Na with soya grains, shirika la ADS linatusaidia kusource market. Apart from that, sisi wakulima wenyewe tumefundishwa ama tumejifunza jinsi ya kutengeneza value addition. And then in value addition, niko hapa na some of the products, samples ambazo tumetembea nazo za soya. Mfano, hii ni soy beverage ama soybean beverage. Ile majani of chocolate cocoa ambayo tunaitumia. It is organically made. Hakuna any additive ambayo tumeongeza, hakuna any chemical ambayo tumeongeza. We are doing organic farming. Apart from this, tuna snacks. We have snacks. Na hii snack ni soya. They are soya nuts ambazo tumeprocess through value addition. Tumetengeneza soya nuts. They are so crunchy, you can taste. Still, tuko na kibanda pale chini ambacho mnaweza pata hizi bidhaa zote pale. Apart from this, we have soya crackers. Soya crackers, they are still snacks, but they are so sweet, delicious, and nutritious. Tunapata ya kwamba soya, it has a lot of health benefits in our bodies, especially, for example, when you have HIV positive, the soya protein inatusaidia kupunguza yale makali na hata hivyo kupigana na vile virusi, na kando na hiyo ina improve your immunity. So utapata ya kwamba with soya, the protein that it has, it is so nutritious, and at the same time inatusaidia katika health benefits kwa miili zetu. Kwa wale ambao ni watoto wetu, mfano that have malnutrition cases, we use soya flour, and for the soya flour inasaidia kujenga the immunity. So the soya itself, it has ile uzuri ya kwamba inatusaidia, ile proteini yake inatusaidia katika miili zetu, but it is only essential katika miili zetu wakati tumeiprocess. You have to process that soya well before you use it. Tunapatana? Asante. Apart from doing soya, we also have honey. Tunayo honey ambayo sasa hii nayo imesimamiwa na Kasusu Enterprise. Na hapa utapata ya kwamba fanya value addition ya honey kutoka katika mizinga zetu ambazo sisi wenyewe kama wakulima tumetengeneza. Tuko all over the country within 17 counties, kiwemo Kitui, Kirinyaga, Kakamega, Eldoret and so on. Tuko all over. But makao yetu pale ambapo tumekaa ni Kakamega town. Katika Kakamega town utatipata pale tuko na shop. Na hiyo shop tuna pure natural honey. Apart from that, we have other products like soya, macadamia and all that we have done. Hii yote inatoka kwa ukulima. Na wakulima wetu ambao tunawatumia wa hapa, hakuna chenye tuna import. Na yote ni organic. Hakuna chenye tunaongeza. No any other chemical or additive ambayo iko hapa. So utapata ya kwamba our honey is so sweet and also it is delicious. And it is very fresh from our own. Thank you.
Yeah, now we have not mentioned the price. Probably it might neza fanya mtu atamani kukuja kama sio bei ya kunyonga mwananchi wa kawaida.
Asante sana. Prices zetu zinaeleweka na jinsi tumeishi. Ziko chini, sio zile za kunyonga mtu. Kama hii nimeshika ni 600, kuna ya 1000 ambayo ni 1 kilo, kuna ya 300, kuna 200, kuna 100 kulingana na mfuko wako. And also for the soya, kiwango ya nuts, mfano hii ni kiwango ya 120. For the beverage ni 100, that is 200 grams. For the crackers also kunayo kiwango ya chini mpaka even ya 50 bob ambayo tuko nayo pale chini. Kwa hivyo karibuni pale kwenye kibanda chetu mjionee. Asanteni. And you also taste uzuri wa soya, how delicious soya is, and it will make a difference in our bodies because it has that health benefits. Thank you.
Hey, how old are you?
Thank you. Mimi ni mama mzee. I'm 50 years old.
Na unakaa tu kama
namba ya simu.
Ninaweza sema it is because of soya. I usually use a lot of soya milk. We have also soya milk and we have also soya yogurt. Now I have a testimony. I can testify to you. For 10 years, I can say earlier, I was in anemic condition. whereby I bleeded for some 3 years consecutively, na nikawa na hiyo hali ya anemic condition for 10 years. So wakati nilikuwa na imbalancing of hormones, nilitembea nikaandikiwa hiyo clinic na gaina, nikatembea kwa hospitali for a very long time, but sikupata ile suluhu. So the moment I switched on to natural